get everything set up, forget to go to the proper event. What's up? So today we have a Camry. We're going to be doing full ceramic. We're doing 35 in the front. We're doing 20% on the rear. And we're doing a windshield strip. And oh my God. Hang on. Oh, there. Now it's on my headphones. Here, how do we get rid of that other event? Delete forever. Okay, there we go. What's up, dudes? Put out a notification to the completely wrong event. It's good. It's good. It's perfect. I haven't done that in a minute. All right. Well, let me get a camera set up here, and I'll go ahead and jump into it. You guys will find it. Anybody that cares, anyways? What's up? Let's plug this guy in. Let's loop that. That might help. Actually, it will help. Let me loop that a couple times. Plug that in. Back-to-back streams. I know it. Because I didn't realize that today this car was coming in. I forgot. I didn't look at the schedule, though. How did the class go? Classes were good. Classes were really good. Yeah, it was a little weird. I remember talking about this before. The only thing that was a little weird was 7 people were supposed to show up. One person I still haven't gotten a hold of. I don't know whatever happened. And another person, he moved to July instead of June. So then I had 5 people. So it was like super. It was really chill. I really like having it's nice having not being as stressed out by having extra people because I just want to make sure I do a good job. But yeah, classes went really well. 2020 Traverse C2 Carbon coming in. Any concerns with the full windshield? On a Traverse, no. But like normal, just cover them up. Most windshields, no concerns. When it gets into like Chevy and stuff, you're usually like Chevy and Ford or GM and Ford. I always feel a little bit better with those. I haven't had any issues with those before. But just be smart about it. You know, cover things up. As long as you do that on like basically any car, you're okay. How's 35% on the windshield? It's my favorite, but it's not gonna be for everybody. If you want like it's the darkest I go on a windshield, and if you want like a nice shade that cuts down, in my opinion, like the perfect amount of glare, where like if you go darker than that, it really gets challenging to see when you have rough conditions out there. Like 35 is about like, yeah, up to there is still really, really comfortable. But it looks really dark too, so it stands out a lot. So I then opt to go for 50, but 35 is usually my favorite just to have. If rules aren't really a problem. How would you deal with an inspection sticker? I don't know. Because I've heard different things. Some states, they do really big, ugly cutouts, and I was kind of like, just remove it, right? But I guess they're paper, so they fall apart, and then they have to get a new sticker, and then you have to do like yearly inspections anyways. So I genuinely don't know. I would talk to other tinters in your state and see what they do, see what the norm is, because we don't have to deal with any inspections. It's kind of awesome. All right, mics. Look at this. Look at this little thing up here. The little dingle dangle. It's nice. Just was trying to finish yesterday's video. Appreciate it. I would do, that got really annoying with a streamer I would watch, but in a good way. So when he would stream usually late at night, and this would be like 6 or 7 p.m. all the way to sometimes 11 or 12. And so the next day during work, I would rewatch the streams, and it would get extra annoying when then he would decide to go live during the day. I'm like, I'm trying to catch up on your last stream. It's good stuff. It's always nice to have long format stuff to listen to. I tinted a new Integra the other day, 15 all around, 35 on the windshield, and client got pulled over the next day. Ooh. Okay, I've got a little story that sounds similar to that. Typically, I never hear people getting pulled over that fast. That's just really bad luck, unfortunately. But there was this one guy. There was a father and son. They restored like a, God, what was it? It wasn't even like a, it was like a Lincoln Mark 8. Something like that, like it was a 90s car. And it was his son's first car. They got one, they did some work on it, and then their last thing was like, yeah, now we get to get it tinted and it's all set. Got it tinted, and on the way home they got pulled over for it. Such a happy thing, right? Oh, yes, it's finally done. Whoop, whoop. Nope. Just kidding. Sucks. That's the only time I've heard that. Rick told me a funny, oh God, no, this isn't a funny story. Just a horrific, so there's some crazy people at different shops that we've tinted for. And I remember there's this one, why am I opening these? Let me get some tape. Let me figure out what I'm doing first, and then I'll tell stories. There's this one, tinted a set of doors, and there's this couple, they were arguing. They were just yelling at each other in the showroom and stuff. And then he finished up the front doors, and they took off. And the other person was in another car, and they T-boned them at the intersection right in front of the shop, and one of them died. And it was like, what? That one was like, ooh. I've heard some stories, but that one was like, so that just happened right outside the shop, and he's like, yep. So speaking of, I got an email this morning saying their site is back up. Oh, good. Why don't you do inline filters in your keg? At this point, I probably should. I just always thought the filter wars got a little funny. Because for a while, people that made kegs were going back and forth, and there was this big stir in the group with trying to find the ultimate filter, and everybody was basically bragging numbers, but they made no sense. Not necessarily everybody was bragging, but it was oh, well, my filter does this much. It was just okay. So it was kind of, people were using the gasoline filters. So they'd get them for $10, $15 or something. But they're aluminum and they would corrode. Then Sun Distributing found their inline filters that are all plastic that I think you can wash them out and reuse them. Just finding a good balance between those two. But when I was mobile, it was another point of failure that I was a little worried about. Not a huge deal, but when you have the filter hanging off of your sprayer, and then you like wind up your hose and throw it in the back of your truck and go to the next place, they just didn't want it to crack or anything. So I was just like, I don't really see the need for getting one. So I just never did. But at this point, I probably could. Super.
Daniel Rain, a super chatted $9.99.
Daniel.
Co-master Matt. How many cars are you averaging a day?
Daniel Rain with a 10. How many cars are you averaging a day? Like 2? 1 or 2? Like not a lot. Thank you for the 10. Yeah, I don't pull in a lot of work here. Now that I have some extra help with all the orders and stuff, I'm now working on just kind of building out the schedule a little bit more. I recently made a small update to my booking page. So now I actually have more info on when, so for the longest time, I should have done this so long ago. Whenever somebody leaves a deposit, it leaves their name, their number, just some contact info and the time that they're coming in. And then I always just added it in the message to know what car is coming in. But then now that I'm scheduling out farther, you go 4 or 5 days and you're like, I don't remember what's coming in, but I approved it. So whatever it is, it'll be cool. But I can't really plan for it because I forget what it is unless I really look it up, and that just takes time. So now I added it to my to the booking spot. So when somebody leaves a deposit, they also say what car they're bringing in and what type of work we're doing. A couple little extra boxes. But that'll help. So that way, so here's this is kind of coming around full circle. I don't do that many jobs. There's been this weird or just tough for me to figure out what cars to stream and what not to stream. Because at this point, I really don't want somebody to bring in a car that was like, yeah, I love the channel. And then it's like, oh, shoot. They really wanted to see it on stream or something, to then not be able to do it. So a big priority of everything for this space was allowing, I started with 2 or 3 cars in a day, and then I backed off to 2. And then in the wintertime, things slowed down, and I was just spacing basically 1 car per day. So that way I knew I had time to stream, and then also make sure that there's something going up on the channel, because it's a big priority to keep that busy. So then crossing over from that to the summertime, I just haven't been booking as many cars during the day, because I always want to make sure that I got time to then stream one, because off camera, 2 hours is pretty comfortable to do a car. On stream, with everything else, generally a 10 o'clock appointment will be done around 2 o'clock. 1, 2 o'clock, kind of just depends on how things go. So we'll see here. But it's trying to balance the two. This one, he is super nice. He's a big fan, he said he watched a bunch of videos, so I really, really appreciate that. And especially whenever I hear that, it's I gotta stream it now. So, I'm doing a couple things just to know what's on my schedule a little bit better. So it's really quick and easy because, you know, there'll be front doors or front doors in a windshield. And that kind of stuff doesn't have to be done on stream. So slotting that kind of stuff into my schedule now. And then also like another car and figuring out what days that I want to stream. That's kind of what I'm working on right now. Sounds like it should be pretty simple. But I always like half pay attention to a bunch of stuff. So then I like come in the morning, I'm like, oh, I have to figure out what days I want to stream. So I think I'm basically going to have to book things like 3 days a week for streaming and the rest of them for just like regular tint days. And just have a balance between the two. Because also I got to try and get a video done in there too. Like having a full schedule is great until you realize like, hey, I haven't done a video in a little while. Oh, good. Or like, oh God, I don't have any room on the schedule to actually film anything because it's all work. So then I try and turn a work car into a video. It all takes time, especially learning how much time that any one of those things take. So now I can basically say, like, by myself, a full video would take nearly a day to shoot. Now with help, I can shoot it inside of a half day and then just edit in my spare time afterwards. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for. So there's a little bit more flexibility now with videos, now that I actually hired somebody. Most annoying part was like setting up a camera and then changing the angle. Oh no, we ran out. I knew it. I knew it wasn't enough. Nice that people are coming to get their glass tinted because of watching our videos and streams. Yeah, I really, really appreciate that. It was kind of a, like, I don't know, this might happen, to a much more regular thing. And then figuring out, like, you know, okay, now that it's here, how do we handle it? Kind of seems like it's a interesting problem to have. There it is. I get all the junky rolls. I get a bag of junky rolls. So whenever we pack up glass aid, there's always rolls that kind of look iffy. Those are the rolls that I get to use on stream. You guys that order, you get all the nice ones. I have 5 all around with 35 on the windshield. No issues with seeing out at night. 5 was a little too dark for me on the sides, but 35 is really nice on the windshield. Everybody's different in that regard. Thanks for keeping bad rolls. Did you have to restart your live stream this morning? Yeah. Yeah, I just told it to go to the wrong place. Okay, so we're doing 35. That's this guy here. So in a normal shop environment, like, it's actually nice that I've got a couple of cars that I haven't been doing full windshields on. Because as much as I appreciate adding full windshields, it's honestly nice to sometimes not have a full windshield to do. So a car like this, if I was tinting it anywhere, I would expect this to take a couple hours for all the sides, and then we're adding a strip on it. So, you know, like you can give yourself like up to a couple hours, but you would want it done for most places inside that time, just to stay on pace for for a good day. Or you got to charge more. Like, look at what you're charging, look at how long it's taking you, and know that you got lots of expenses. I had my truck tinted before. I messaged the guy who sold it to me. Who did it? He said he used Scorpion film. I put C2 on it instead of Scorpion, and wow, the clarity on C2 blows Scorpion away. Yeah, there's a reason why I really like Geo. I say these things like I don't want to dog too many companies, but there's people that really like Scorpion. They just are definitely more economical. That falls in line with exactly what I typically hear. And my my own experiences. So, Scorpion was a film that my dad's shop carried for a while. But now they're doing ASWF, and I just don't get that one. You can pick anything else but that film. Is C2 a carbon film? Yes. Yeah, C2 is the carbon that I carry. That was like when it made, in my opinion, like a significant jump from being like, carbon went from being decent to being like, oh, okay, I wouldn't have any problems with this one. There's a lot of companies who think that their customers won't pay the extra money. Yeah, there's a lot that get beat up from their customers. And to be honest, it's their own fault. But they're like, and they're not entirely wrong. It's a tough situation to be in. So, you know, especially when you're new and you're trying to break into a market, you think, hey, I'll just not charge as much, I'm new. But then you start attracting people that then are relatively cheap. And then because they didn't have much money to spend either, like, they're going to nickel and dime every little bit of value out of that job. Not everybody, but there's a good number of them. And so what then suffers is material quality too. Time, material, like everything. There's just not enough money there for it to make sense. And do much better films and have a much better experience. So then you start running yourself down and you can't really, it's really hard to dig yourself out of that. But then also it's, you don't see, like this is one reason I was actually super happy that I got to, like for the mobile that I did, it gave me a lot of perspective on so many other companies' attitudes, setup, and what works well and what doesn't work really well. And that's only like the shops that we service. So I'm sure there's a lot of things that I didn't see. But you could clearly see how some people were doing things right and they were getting high-end jobs. Their workflow wasn't any more challenging. They had great customers. And it's like they weren't really in a different area from the guy that's then charging $150 and everything's a problem. And then like, you know, these people suck and whatever else. Like, yeah, it's not fun. Yeah, when you advertise best prices in town for years and years, it becomes hard to raise prices. Mm-hmm. Because that's what you get known for. Why do you want the best prices in town? It's the quickest way to attract the largest demographic. Because you can theoretically hit everybody, right? Like, everybody's got some money. So if you charge the least amount of that, you just hit everybody. But what you don't necessarily realize then is there's people that will not come to you because you're not that place. People enjoy spending more money on a nicer experience, on a cleaner place, on good service. And they just want to be sure that everything's going to go right the first time. They got stuff to do. So, yeah, that all plays a key role in everything. Have you ever done a 2004? What is that? Alert? Is that an Alero? Oh, an Alero. Ah, I pretty much guessed. I was going to say Alera. Is that an Oldsmobile? Is that what that is? I don't remember anything annoying about that car. I think it's actually like it's an older car, but it's not really hard to do. It's just kind of another car with the curved windshield. Oh, shoot, the windshield. No, I wouldn't have done the windshield. It's just when I was tinting those cars, we would typically do all the sides and the rear and maybe a windshield strip. Not many people at that time were getting full windshields. Oh my God, that's an interesting thing. So, this is like, I quit. I had a guy offer me to take over his shop. He was one of those best in town places. He was offering lifetime warranty films. That was $240 for a 40 by 100 foot roll. Stuff turned yellow in 2 years. I quickly ran. Yeah, that's a really interesting look at it too. At first, I was kind of salty. Like at so the last place that I tinted for, they have only sent me 1 or 2 clients. Like they didn't have a tinter, so they just had people asking and they had nowhere to send them. And it's like, okay, well, I tinted for you guys for a while, like, and if you just want to help out your people, you can send them over my way. I didn't tell them that, but it definitely would have helped out in the beginning in certain ways. But the other side of that I noticed is when you get, like, depending on where your referrals and where your customers are coming from, you may not want those people. And it's not a bad thing. It's just like, so they charged good prices, but they were very much simple. They could handle more work. So people didn't have to wait very long to get their cars tinted, at least not until like the summertime and whatnot. So it's like there are people that are coming for their business, but are coming over to my shop to get it done. And my shop is not the same. These are people that haven't seen the channel. You know, they may come to appreciate it, but it's then I feel like I have to sell myself on top of it, on top of them getting a referral over here. Where if it's somebody that's actually found your space and like seen what you do and your website and stuff, they're already coming to you from a better angle. So there's been times, especially from another one, he was like, hey, can I send you work? And this was from basically an entirely different area of town from one of the not so great place that I was tinting for. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. Like they were looking for some sort of sales commission off of it. Not a huge chunk, like 10% or something like that, for like referring a good paying person over. And it's like on paper it sounds good. But I'm telling you, there's very much a big difference between people that understand what I'm already doing and people that are just coming to another tint shop. But I didn't realize that until honestly much later. But if I was taking walk-ins, then yeah, no problem. If I was just set up like a tint shop, yeah, no problem. I'm weird. I stream things. But all that stuff, like it's interesting to see like how much of a difference there is and can be. Like even from my own business, I get a lot of phone calls for people just asking about price still. I deal with all that stuff too. And they don't know, and that's fine. But the people that do, they're like such a different client than people just like finding me on maps and calling over the phone. Or getting a referral. Getting a referral from like another business or something. But I wouldn't have really realized that. I wouldn't really have realized that even a couple years ago. Like, I didn't know. I was just kind of like, I hope I can sell ceramic. You definitely can. Anybody can. It's how you present everything. And a little bit, like, you have to put effort into attracting people that are interested in that, or just setting your pricing in a way that attracts people with more disposable income that already kind of get it walking in. Just cold selling over the counter when they walk in the door, it's a hard thing to do. Oh. But yeah, business is funny. Yeah, but it was kind of annoying. I couldn't believe, like, so simple. Like, and they make it a point to text me if they're sending, they haven't done this in a while, but they made it a point to text me when they're sending somebody over. And then they would text them my personal number. And I'm like, don't do that. Hey, this is a good buddy of mine. I know my guy can't handle this car. We're sending over like an Audi, what was it, like an S-Class? And I'm like, and you just texted him my personal number. Like, now this is some sort of personal favor for this guy. Ay. This guy that offered was like 68 years old. He had a shop for 20 years, but too much baggage for me with lifetime warranties. Mm-hmm. Yep. You're inheriting a lot of problems. And at that point, he's essentially trained people to just like come in, not care. Just like, hey, I mean, it's not that he's got necessarily a bad place. It's just not most people's types of business. It's just, we offer, like, we have one film, this is the price, and then trying to basically educate new people or the people that are coming in, and they're like, well, we've come here for years and we've only gotten this one and this was the price. It's hard to dig yourself out of because you're trying to retrain people essentially at that. What blade holder are you using for your top cut? You don't want to know. Okay, it's go to Walmart, get the Black Magic kit. That's the one that I'm using. Is this the best plastic knife? Probably not. But it's a plastic knife. What I like about this, actually, it's got the same amount of clicks as a red dot. It just lets me, like a plastic knife, lets you put that blade holder against the film and then get the thin NT carbon blades. That's what really makes a difference. It's all right. Some of you guys I know, just everything that I just talked about is going to sound super weird. Like, why would you turn away any business? It's like you got to figure out what type of business you really want and then go after that business. So if you want to be a quick turnover shop, which there's good money. I know lots of quick turnover shops. They're more than happy pulling in lots of cars. And you can even do that and charge more for it too. But you just got to be conscious about that in the beginning, or as you're getting business, you got to adjust it very quickly. Some of my really good clients were like the first few cars that I tinted, and they've brought me multiple cars. And so I almost feel obligated to give them like the OG pricing that I had here when I first started. Because then, like, you know, when somebody comes in for like a color stable job and you were charging them $240, and then the next year they come in and it's $50 more expensive, some people remember, or they brought you 3 cars at that price, and then all of a sudden you're more expensive, and they're like, hey, what happened? It's not that you can't hook anybody up. But then those people are also some of your best early on referrals, and then you start to grow in that direction, and you're nervous of turning away business by raising your prices. And the tip is super smooth. It is, isn't it? $8 using the plastic NT knife, holds multiple blades, auto load. Yeah, the end is what I don't like about that one, so I still don't use that one. I think it's a cool knife. I guess I can show why I don't, but there's some really good tinters that love that knife. So it's just, this is a personal preference thing. I like that this one has a flattened edge, where this one is much more rounded. So it's easier to then just put this flat against the glass or close to it, and you don't feel like it's dancing around. It's just very much fixed there. Where this one, as long as you keep your hand at the right angle throughout, then you're totally fine. You can do a similar thing. It's just really rounded at the entire edge here. I have scratched the top edge with a red dot pushing too hard. Yep, I've done it too plenty of times. But something like that, it's honestly, I haven't really questioned it. I always just like, I just got to get better at cutting and stuff. I never thought to really change it out with a plastic blade holder. But like, I've heard of it before. To me, it sounded a little silly, right? Like, oh, the red dot is such a nice knife. I should just be able to use it for the top edges too. I don't want to keep track of 2 knives or whatever. But no, something as silly as a plastic blade holder is kind of amazing. But pairing it with the right blade really is what made the difference for me. So I could still put the blade in this one and do a really awesome top edge. But yeah, there's that little risk of putting a groove into the film. Something I'm not looking to do. It's really subtle though. At least in most cases it is. Can I just drop this in here or do it static? Come on. There we go. Too much static. All right. Clay bar. Oh, so people ask me where to store their clay bars. Honestly, just put a piece of tint and put them on a piece of tint. For a while, I used to put them on rags, and I still do, and then they end up like melting. If you have a warm shop, they end up melting to the fibers on the rag. But if you just set it on a piece of tint, it will basically not stick to that. Oh wait, that's cold water. I want hot water. But I mess it up. So I have a bunch of clay bars that sit around and I jumble things around, and next thing I know, I've got a clay bar stuck to this tool and a clay bar stuck to that rag, and it turns into a mess. I gotta be better about it. Get a couple of these and a blade. I was wondering how you get your clay bar not to stick to everything. No, I just it's stuck to a bunch of stuff. I've had that same problem. I used to keep it also in a little food jar and filled it with warm water, especially in the wintertime. I thought it was really nice. These ones will gum up if they sit in water for like overnight or for a couple days or something. They basically start like gumming up and falling apart. It's pretty gross. So at the end of the day, I would still leave it in that food jar, but I would empty out the water. That was when I was running around, but literally like just taking a little piece of scrap tint, putting it on one side and just like sandwiching it over. That would make it way more travelable. I've even gone as far as to take a piece of tint I took a couple pieces of tint and I actually tinted the inside of the box, but there's like temperature is always it changes. So in the summertime, like, and I know down south it can stay much hotter for longer. So on a warm day, that clay bar will start to just kind of like slowly melt. But I was trying to find a container that it wouldn't even stick to. There's like nothing that I can actually ship it with that it won't stick to. Unfortunately. But that seems to be the case with like everybody's clay bars. Like I've gotten lots of clay bars in plastic containers and stuff, and you set them in the container and you tighten up the lid, and then when you go to get the clay bar out again, it's all like melted and stuck to the sides again. So it's just kind of a annoying characteristic of them. So even if I package them in like a nice tin, they'd stick to that. Plastic soap dishes and ceramic coat the inside. Oh, cool. Yeah, that would definitely be something for the individual to do then. This nice and close. How close can we go? Yeah, I haven't thought of ceramic coating them either. That's interesting. Maybe you can just do a little drop and swish it. I'll try it. I've got a lot of plastic containers that I could try it on. See if it'll work on that. Don't you usually leave a decent gap? No, I get it as close as I can. The trick is if you can do this and not peel your film, then you're good. You can get as close up to the top as you want. Everything comes down to how you cut it. So the more consistent that you're basically like, so if you cut a top edge and your blade is perfectly straight, you want to keep that throughout your cut. I go for a little bit of an angle here still. So I'll put out like 3 clicks. I'll do like a little angle down and just shear that off. But the thing is, you want to keep the same angle throughout. So as you're going up this edge, you got to kind of like curve back slightly down because, right, like this is here. And then as you're going, you're just trying to make sure you keep that same angle with the glass throughout. And that'll get this edge nice and consistent so then you can put it up really, really close. That's the goal. That's why I like the NT knife. Interesting. Ew. Mosquito. Oh, that's a mosquito. I got it. Don't get in my film. Ugh. That would be the worst. I don't want mosquitoes in my shop. I've had it happen though. Have you ever had like a little gnat fly in your film? You go to tint a window, there's just a handful of little bugs floating around, and then you like sandwich it in the film. That and those little like, those white floaties in springtime. That's why I keep the door shut right now, other than it's hot outside. But when I see lots of little like white floaties and stuff, shoot, I just don't want them in my shop. So then I'll leave the door shut. If it's cooler outside though, I'll leave it open. Unless it's winter. Might need to get some citronella candles to burn. Oh, would that help with them? I've always wondered what actually works as a mosquito barrier. But that's the first one that I've ever seen up here while I'm tinting, so I don't think, as I'm crossing my fingers that I'm not going to see any more. There's probably a couple, but it hasn't been a problem in the past couple of years. And then around fall, I'll get, sure enough, I'll probably get crickets. Had one in a back window. That sucks. This looks good. Yeah, they're too mushy. So like the only way you really see that there is one is after you squeegee the window and you already like pressed it into the glue. They're too squishy. Steamroll that into your film. I see seen someone put tint on a car, roll down the window, the tint on the consumer's window. What? I've seen somebody put tint on the car, roll down the window with the tint in the customer's window, they squeegeed it out after. Oh, they just did things in a weird way. What percent? Okay, so we're doing 35 on the front, and then we're doing 20 on the rear. And then I gotta remember, we're doing another windshield strip. It's kind of funny. What did I say about things coming in all in the same time? So how many windshield strips have I done? And now, how many windshield strips have I done lately? Many more. What did you do to get customers? Exist. Existing is like a big part of just getting people. And then when you get people, do things that make them really happy. I had an entire moth. I had an entire moth between the liner and film and a roll of Gila once. I actually, I'm so mad that I lost it. I had a bee laminated in my film. I unrolled it and there was just a big bee there, so I cut it out and I left it in my meter box, but then eventually it fell out. But yeah, when they're manufacturing these films, like there's just thousands and thousands of feet. There's bound to be something that gets caught in that film process, and then also there can be quality control on those rolls too. So they'll have like subpar rolls that they'll sell as I hear as B stock. So there's trouble for manufacturers too. But I don't see it very often. But that was always funny to get one. I bought a pre-cut Lexan kit that will be here this week. First time ever tinting. I'm doing this because of you. Well, don't blame me. No, I'm kidding. Because, no, here's what's going to happen. Oh, the follow-up. Man, I tried that kit. Tinting sucks. F you, Matt. No, I hope it's not that. It's always funny. It really sets in. When you actually try this, it really sets in what it's like. It looks one way, and then it acts a completely different way. So, but some people can get it really quickly. Just try and pay attention as much as you can. All the little things that happen. The tape from Lowe's was hard for me to pull off the roll. I'm not sure. Like, it's pretty sticky. But if you feel like it'd be bad on a customer's car, then don't use it. I don't know. I've had good luck with it. It's gonna be grippier than a roll of painter's tape for sure. But that's a good thing. And I've got my heat gun, by the way. I'm binging your videos for days now. That's cool. That's always like a little surreal to hear. Because I'll binge other channels. So, I don't know. This is still on some level, this is still just my job. It's just become more and more of a channel thing over the years. So like, it's still kind of surreal to hear something like that. Ooh, I had a tech tape rip off the first layer of leather on a BMW M6. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't know it would do that. So, what I've heard and seen is when it comes to what I would consider more specialty, we could call them exotic, you could call them specialty, just unique materials, you gotta do something a little bit different with them. What I would do is probably use the same tape, but I would like put it on a surface to make it less sticky first. So, you know, like duct tape, you can put it like on your pants, right, and tear it off. That'll make it less sticky, or just use something else entirely different. Just wipe the panels more. I might not even risk it. Which sucks, because on a car like that, you want to do almost more to protect it. But I've heard with like older leathers, suedes. There's just things that it's too grippy for. Carpet protector would probably work on it. Yeah, there's a decent chance that it would be okay. That's the whole reason why I use, that's the whole reason why I put Lowe's tape on the bottom stretch anyways, is because there were so many panels that I'd start to put the sticky plastic onto, and then it would just fall right off. Some were okay, but then more and more, it just was like, this is pointless. It's not sticking to anything. So I do this stretch of tape to try and create a little bit of a water barrier there. And then I stick it right to that, and it's really convenient. But that's not gonna, apparently it doesn't work on everything quite perfectly. So like, see that? Some water can still get through. This is a very textured panel, so it depends on the panel, but it does a really good job of, like, this is just like one of those harder plastic panels with that texture in it. So there's a lot of these style panels that I tint. Like, look at the library of stuff that I normally tint. I don't have a lot of like unique door panels. It's all pretty standard stuff for like new cars. Don't know if Matt knows the chassis codes. What? 96 to 00. I don't know that one. Have you used dryer sheets to reduce static, to reduce contamination? No, but I guess that would work. It kind of just depends on your environment. Like, I'm not worried about dust floating into my film. And I wasn't worried about dust floating into my film, even in places that I tinted with the bays straight open. Most of the problems that you're really gonna have, unless like if you stand here and you see like lots of little like dust thingies floating there, like I see one. There's like one little hairy thing floating in the breeze here. But for the most part, like you can tint in a bunch of unique places that are not clean and still put out great work. You got to think of like what is your exposure time. So when I peel the film, how long is that film open before you put it right on the glass? Typically like, I don't know, 5 seconds or less. So if you're in a body shop and they're like wheeling a car, yeah, there's probably going to be some stuff in your film. But, you know, if people are just kind of just doing regular work and you have airflow down to kind of like a minimum, I mean, you can even have air conditioning and stuff blowing, just as long as it's not blowing at you. You're generally fine. It would be responsible for like one little dust fiber that would kind of look like a hair, not little dirt specks or anything like that. That's all car. The car and your water. But even your water, I think, is pretty minimal, unless you're using like well water or something. Like I had that situation a couple streams ago, and we were, I had to redo a window like 3-4 times over some like hard spots. At this point, I can like 100% say it was my water. They're doing a lot of construction in this area. Some stuff probably got back into the water again. And since then, I have like well rinsed out my tank, ran a lot of water, and all the windows that I've been doing since They've turned out really, really good. I'm seeing a lot of, like, for the amount of cleaning that I do, everything's been a lot more consistent, and that's what I want to see. Some people would go as far, like, I don't know how much this would help, but before you go to before you go to tint a window, I've seen some people do this where they're just like, they just put a little like misty in the air and try and keep dust down that way. I don't know if it really helps, but they would do that. So as soon as I peel this, okay, just start counting. And we spray it. It's probably 10 seconds. And we pick it up off the glass. And we take it. And we go right to the window. And then as soon as I get everything buttoned up here, like this whole half is all on the glass. Nothing's getting in there now. And then this, nothing's getting in here. So that's my total exposure time. Alongside that time, anybody can do pretty much anything else that they normally do. It's just when you go to peel the film, that's when you're going to have environmental things get in your film. But it's usually not environment. There we go. Oop, a little bit farther down. Indoors or outdoors? Oh, indoor for sure. Is that a gap? Is that what that is? Yes, I need to go farther forward. It's hard to tell. Hard to tell with that plastic right there. There we go. Yeah, like, things are totally different when you're outside. Outside, you have lots of just nature. Little floaties from trees, pollen, dust, like, and it's constantly moving. When you're indoors and you can shut a garage door, or, you know, you're far enough away, you don't feel a cross breeze, you only have like one entrance for the wind to come in, like the airflow then here, it's not as bothered. Things kind of maybe float in and settle down. But even when you're walking on like a dirty concrete floor and stuff, it's like for the most part, things are pretty settled. It's when you take like a pressure washer and other things and it starts really moving the air around, that'll start kicking stuff up off the ground. Or if you're outside and then you have a little gust of wind and you're in a dirty parking lot, and then it's throwing shit everywhere. It's also trying to blow the film off of your car too. Tinting outside sucks. That is one thing I've never done alongside of like one or two jobs. They're like, hey, can you go to dealership? Hey, here's the keys. All right, where do you want me to pull it? Oh, can't you tint it outside? No. Nope, I need a space. And if you don't have a space, I can't do the work. I think it at least like deserves that amount of respect too at this point. Like, it's not that you can't make some of that stuff work. It's just then you really start to like undervalue everything that you do. I would love to see a high-end tinting service that only tints outside. I don't think they exist. So like that whole thing then gets beat up, and it's just, you can get started, but quickly look for a space. It's really challenging. Is it only water in your tank or any soup in it? I got some chicken noodle in my tank. It's pretty tasty. No, there's definitely soap. I use a little bit of Dawn and more baby shampoo. You use both of them together. I saw a video of you tinting outside in the Philippines and you really wrestled with it. Yeah, I could make that video better now. The biggest thing that I didn't think of was a wet towel. That would have I think a wet towel would have solved like 90% of my problems. So the wind is one thing, because when you have film on the outside of the glass and you're trying to cut it, like a slight breeze, this is why you can't even have ceiling fans. A slight breeze just tries to pick all your film off. So when you get the pattern all settled and you go to the inside, the sun was just baking that glass, and I've never really experienced that because I've always been tinting indoors. But as soon as the glass heats up, it causes everything to dry and stick. Like it softens your glue, it softens your film, everything grabs way harder, way faster. So you need a way to then make that glass shaded and cold. So like a super kind of ghetto way to do it would be to literally take like a wet towel and just plop it over the window. Then you have your shade and it's keeping the glass cold. And I could have tinted it way easier that way. But there was no way to create a big overhead shade. That was a rough video. But I was pretty determined to make some type of tint video when I was there. It was even hard just finding a car. Like that was what was extra annoying about it, is so many people, especially the ones we knew, they don't have cars. Everybody's public transportation there. So you're kind of like rich if you have a car over there. A wet towel. Wet towel would have been a good move. Yep. Is there a pump in the soap bucket? Okay, so let me explain the tank setup. So this is a tint keg. Oh, they put my colors on it. It's pretty awesome. So I go over to this station right here, and these are lots of bottles and soaps and stuff. So I primarily use Dawn, and I also use baby shampoo. So I fill one of these. This is sitting here from the class. This is a bad example right now. I fill about two and a half worth of baby shampoo, and then about maybe another almost ounce. So I'm really up to like 3.5 ounces worth of soap. And these two together have been really, really good with using GeoShield. There'll be a couple other brands that's really good with. For the most part, like if you're on something like Lexan, Lumar, a lot of American films, Avery's got quite a few of them. There's a lot of films out there. Basically, if it doesn't come from one particular manufacturer, the adhesive slides a lot better. So you don't need quite that much soap. So I used to just use baby shampoo until my film slid, and then when I tack it down, it starts to grab. So I put that, I fill this keg about 3/4 of the way full of water. So my water level is all the way up to about here. This much is an air gap. And then I take this, I'll put this on, and then it fills up my keg. It pressurizes it. And I do about right now I'm running about 90 PSI. This is nice. It'll run and then it'll automatically shut off now. This is like, it's such a clean setup. I just need to make the hose. Dollar store baby shampoo is actually awesome. So, actually I haven't really tried this. So it's like side by side. I think using dollar store baby shampoo, it's a little less concentrated, but it's actually really awesome. Actual Johnson baby shampoo, whenever we're at the store, I'm always looking for any type of sale, and then I'll pick up a bunch of bottles, because sometimes, like, you know, spending $7 or $8 a bottle gets ridiculous. So you can always try dollar store baby shampoo. I prefer to use right now the regular stuff. Like I've used dollar store baby shampoo for a long time, and it was really good. I think it's just a little less concentrated, and when we started running into glue issues, switching over to Geo, that's when I started playing around with some other soaps and stuff a lot more. Went back to regular baby shampoo. Is there a way to add an air gauge to the keg? Yeah, hit up Sun Distributing about that. They might have one. I think some people do like a ball lock connector. So there's 2 outlets on your keg. So usually most people just get 1 dip tube in it. So you would have to then set up the other side to then be your pressure gauge. But there's also, on any air filler that you use, there can be a pressure gauge on that, so you don't necessarily need to add one to the keg. Like on my air compressor, it's got a gauge on it, so I know how much PSI that I'm putting in it. But anywhere from, you know, it's really just by feel. So like 90 is a good amount of pressure. 60 is going to be a little bit softer, but both will work. Both will work totally fine. You can use as much or as little pressure as you want. I just go for a little bit more right now. I was filling it up for like 60, 70 for a long time. Sun Distributing, they might actually have a gauge if you want one right on the keg. I mean, it's kind of nice to see, like during the day, I guess. So if you're just not sure how much is in it, then you know, but there isn't much you need to know it for. Like when you just fill it up, you know how much you put in there. But if you want one, I get it. The Amazon Ultra Sharps. Yeah, I don't think links work. I think that's a YouTube thing. Or go to Walmart and get an air gauge for like $3. Oh, Tint Keg actually has one when you buy your keg. Oh, okay, that's cool. So yeah, you can definitely get all the parts from them if you want to put one on your keg. Just started tinting, love your vids. Thank you. What did you charge for this job? So all the sides and the rear in ceramic, that's $450, and then we're doing a strip. Right now I'm still doing strips for like $50. I don't know. I haven't had to sell them. At this point, I'm probably just gonna raise it. Probably to like 70. But it's not a big deal to add it onto this. So he's still 50. Oh yeah, that's another thing I should point out. It's $50 with the full car. So yeah, if somebody just wants to come in for a strip, there's actually a big difference here. If you want to do like just a windshield or just the front doors, it's always more expensive than doing it alongside of like the rest of the full car. It's hard to just price things out individually. So part of it is just, I'm already working on your car. So to like keep going with the rest of the car. And then there's also that little bit of, we're doing more work on the car. So when there's generally just more work, like there's little ways to save little bits here and there, but that's like, yeah. Yeah, so strip, I haven't really thought about it. They're still 50 right now, especially when you're just doing the rest of the car. It's like, yeah, that's fine. We'll just throw a strip on there. How much are the thin blades? The thin blades are cheaper than the stainless steel ones. They're like $10 a pack or something like that. They're awesome. They're gonna be everybody's favorite top edge blade soon enough. They're just that awesome. Tint stores are gonna have to carry them. Do you count the piece of film left over from the strip as a waste? No, I try and roll that up and save it for the next windshield strip. What gets a little challenging is if you do a truck first, then you have a nice big strip for the next windshield. When you do a car first, and then you have a truck that comes in, that windshield strip leftover is not enough to do the other one. Also, you can buy half rolls, so you can get a 24 or 20, cut that in half, and then save for that. So this is from the last car that I tinted actually. So this is probably going to be big enough. This was from the stream we did yesterday. I really like NT Ultra Blades. They really are great when you trim the top edge of the window. Yeah, they're nice. Like, who would have thought? Thinner? I was just... There's a lot of those things that I try and it kind of just doesn't go anywhere, but it's like, it exists. I don't know, every once in a while. Like, I'll just cut with a different blade. What's the worst that can happen? The black Alpha works good. I've got all those. It's the thinness of it, just between the thinness and the sharpness. It makes a big, it like makes enough difference. You can still cut a great top edge without them. It's just easier now to cut a great top edge with a thinner blade. And it's nice because they're cheap too. Like, who doesn't mind that? Just because we already, like, we pay $20 per pack for the stainless. So it's nice to have something for the top edge, and then it'll keep all your blades going longer. There's enough disposables right now. Oh my God. What is that, the mothership? Bitch. Well, I hit it on the ground somewhere. That's for sure. It's like one of those giant mosquitoes that's gonna make more mosquitoes. I have so many blades. Oh, there it is. Ha! I got it. No more mosquitoes. Thank you. So many blades I can start a market. I even got these. I haven't even used these. These are titanium, 3 times longer than stainless steel. They're like 5 blades in a pack, and these are like $10 for a pack. I haven't even tried these. I just saw them and I got them. They're gold. You can find them at Walmart. Can you show the 3 packs? What's best out there? So, well, now they're gone. Okay. These are the NT stainless that I use. They come in a red pack. They're 50. These are awesome. And then these were the 30-degree carbon steel blades I was using for a while. They have like 30-degree, so that's the end. Whoa, no, this isn't them. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of a different pack. Ha, it's blue. It's these. See these ones? They're pointier. Look at that. Look at that point there. But they're the same thickness as the stainless. So they're great blades for cutting on glass boards. They're super nice for top edges. These ones, they come in a black pack. They also have ones that come in this light blue pack too. These are both, I think, thin blades. One says ultra sharp and one says very sharp or something. I don't know. They're both great. They're super sharp and they're thinner. They're almost like I don't know. They're just thinner. Boom. How do you keep glass aid on the window? Mine seems to come off. So one thing I always do is instead of wiping it off with the towel, which leaves grease and smudges and stuff behind, I scrub it with a scrub pad. So spray it with soapy water. You don't need to use anything special, but you scrub it down and then use a squeegee and just squeegee top to bottom, and you'll have a streak-free window. And making sure that these edges aren't greasy or wet, that's going to allow it to stick. But I know exactly what you mean. I have a package of those. I just wanted to see what the difference was. Yeah, they're great. I'm a big fan. NT has been like my go-to for stainless for a while. They're easy to get. They're super sharp. I felt like they were a little bit sharper than Olfa. But I think there's small differences there. It's just when you're using them all day, you start to notice those little things. But really what changed it for me on the top edge, because I've heard carbon blades for a long time on the top edge. And, you know, I was decently happy, but I didn't feel like it was game-changing. Because my biggest hang-up was literally like catching. So I would try and cut a top edge, and I'd have my angle right, and for whatever reason, it would just like catch the film sometimes. And you can go back in a lot of live streams and see like, I just can't get that top edge quite right. I swear, ever since I've switched to the thin carbon blades, it's just so much easier to cut. But they will dull out really fast too. So I also make sure I have a nice clean spot on that blade. So I'll snap it off and I'll cut again if I have to recut it or something. So I only use like one section of the blade per cut. So I'll go through most of a blade on one car. What do you call a window when it's wet? I don't know. What do you call it? I like how handy it looks to scrub. I'm trying to find the tri-edge scrubber. So they call it's called the Scrub It. That's another Tint Depot or Sun Distributing special. They carry all those. Scrub it. There you go. Search for that. You'll find it. And then I take the Velcro off of it. You can take the pads off. It's got like a little Velcro strap here that sticks to all the towels and stuff. So you take that off, and what's nice is you can just flip it over to the other side, and you can get replacement pads. Or if you want to just grab the white 3M pads, you can cut those down to size. Use whatever pads that you like. Have you ever had issues tinting over dot matrix? If so, what was your solution to prevent the silver? There really is no great solution for it. So even on this car, it's got dots that go around the whole matrix. There is going to be a little white line that goes around the entire window. When it dries, it's going to be even. So that's kind of like the silver lining to that situation. Do you deal with the customers, or do you have a secretary? No, I talk to everybody that comes in. Honestly, it was something I was really nervous about at first. I was very much always in the back. And there's times that I feel like I get off on the wrong foot, and I just make things confusing and awkward. But I try my best. Generally, it's been going really well, because the people, like, it's exciting to see the people that are coming in here, especially if they've seen the channel before. They're like, man, they're happy to get a tint job. Like, they're happy to either have their car on stream, just for the whole thing, right? It's not I have to get my windshield replaced, or I have to get my car fixed. It's sweet, I get to tint my windows today. I get to make it look good. So it's an exciting thing. So when somebody comes in, talking to everybody, figuring out what they're looking for, like, and help, guiding them in the direction just off of your recommendations and what they're looking for, and figuring out what they want to get. And then you do the job and deliver it, and then they're just excited to see their car at the end. That's fun. The stressful part is living up to those expectations, but when you hit them, it's great. So before and after. Though I think one of the worst, like I don't know, people, how do I say this? What's always a little difficult for me, and I hate feeling like this, I don't want to feel like I'm trying to sell anybody anything. I hate that feeling. I want to know what they want to get, but I can't do that unless I show them some of the different options and whatnot, and then I feel like a salesman. Or I feel like somebody feels pressured then to get one of the better films or whatever. But regardless, like when somebody comes in and they haven't seen the channel or anything, it becomes a little bit more challenging for me to try and have that opportunity, or just oh, okay, yeah, I saw you on Google, or yeah, I just want to get my windows tinted, like I'm just another shop, and that's okay. I guess the point I'm trying to make is when I'm talking to those people, they haven't really seen the different types of film that I carry, or they don't really know anything about this place. So then everything's very new, and I feel much more salesy than I want to. But when they've seen the channel before, they kind of get a good idea of what they're looking for already, and it's really fun. Because then they're just excited to be here. And it's cool to see the studio in person. It looks one way on camera. It looks a little different in person. It's fun to see, like all these little things. It's a good time. But I think, I actually think it's decently important. Some of the most successful shop businesses that I've ever come across, the owners are very much involved in the day-to-day. They always seem to do something that keeps them in touch. They always seem to do something that keeps them in touch with what their business really is. So there's a place out in Rochester that did high-end detailing, and the owner was there damn near every day, and he was always talking to customers, checking people in, and you could tell he just enjoys the quality of work that they put out. And then when things slowed down a little bit on the counter, he would go in the back, and he'd kind of like, he'd be there with the guys, and he'd help out with some of the jobs here and there. He wouldn't do everything, but he would definitely like help out. And you could see that he really cared about the work that put out, and he got a ton of nice business too. And I've seen that a lot. So like nobody cares about your business as much as you do. So like just definitely try not to lose touch with it, or find somebody to run the counter that's just excited as you are. I mean, you can definitely find people that are better. Like some guys that do the work, they're not geared to deal with people. So you can find a very people person that is all bright and cheery. But I don't know. For me, this is very different. Like I'm the guy that's doing the videos. I hands-on with the car. So when they come here, I schedule a lot of time. It's always fun to be able to also talk with the people that have the car. So it's, yeah, it's been fun. Oh yeah, there's my light. I was very nervous in the beginning though. Why don't you do customer reactions? I don't like putting people on the spot. I don't know. I think some people would be totally cool with it. But I don't know. It's like I don't think, and I don't see most people going like, whoa, it's not pimp your ride style enthusiasm. It's more like, nice. Very good. But it's very like tempered, right? So I just never felt right putting people on the spot like that. Plus, I feel awkward enough with a GoPro on my head. I just want them, like, really. They come in here, we talk about films, and we figure out what they're going to get. Then it goes in the back. Then I do everything, and then turn off the cameras, and then they can, you know, it's just, then I can talk to them again about the job. They can kind of, like, they don't feel so on the spot or anything. I don't know, felt like that works better with the people that I get. I don't think most really want to be on camera either. I signed up for July class. Cool, awesome. Thoughts on plotters, thinking about the workhorse too. Well, I've got it right here. No, the Workhorse 2 is good. So is the Workhorse 1. I feel a little bit better with the Workhorse 2. Like, it feels better made and everything. As far as the actual cuts and stuff, I haven't noticed a difference between the two. But I think it's just more in the build quality. And one little bonus feature that is a nice convenience to have is your cut guide is up here rather than down here. So after it cuts out a pattern and you want to trim off the film, it's nice to not cut off all the way down there and have to retract the film back. You just cut it off here. Makes it really convenient and easy. That's like a small difference though. But no, I would trust it with window tint long term especially. I still have to try and modify the rollers. But if you like, since you're coming to the July class, I don't know, like you can definitely play around with it. I'll talk to you all about it. And just plotters and software and the joys and frustration of it all. Whatever you want to know about it. My only other suggestion is always take a look at the secondhand market too. Plotter Depot, they warranty all the parts and stuff for 5 years, which is kind of like a lot. So it takes out a lot of hesitation about just buying one, like a cheap machine. Like, do I have support? Yeah, their support's really, really good. You can talk to them. They'll help you set it up. They actually recommend that you call them to help set it up, so that way you can set it up right the first time. They actually have every one of those machines that go out is personally inspected by somebody too. So that's unique to hear. They get the machines. They run film through them. They test them. They basically try and make sure that they're all set up, ready to go. So when you get them, it's easy to set up. But even then, setting up a plotter is always annoying. It just is. Is your son here today? No, not today. What kind of flooring are you using? Race Deck. Racedeck.com. Did you cut on the white strip or on the outside? No, I cut on it. That's one thing I always have to be sure I mention. So with the glass aid tape, I cut on it because for me, its main purpose is to ensure that the glass is safe. So I'm not risking just cutting right on the glass, putting a score into the window. Because the cost of replacing a piece of glass like this, where you're going to notice the scratch the most, that or the windshield, is going to be far more expensive than just putting something there and keeping it safe. Not a ton of space. Headrests don't come out. Interesting. Okay. I might plotter cut those quarter windows, though. Those are like they're okay. They're not as fun as most quarter windows to tint, but they are very tintable. This is going well, though. Is it normal? Is it normal to have a couple of dust specks inside the tint? Yes. Yeah, there's always going to be something that you can find that you can point at, but it should be pretty small and minimal. And kind of like scratches on cars. Like when you get a brand new car from a dealership, you can be very critical about the paint, and you can find a lot of things wrong with it. You can find little scratches, little swirls. What do they call them? Dust nibs. Like, you can find little imperfections on brand new cars and take it a paint correction. With window tinting, it's an aftermarket process. We try and do everything as clean as we can. When I look at a car after a job, like if I look at this window, I want to feel like it's very spotless. So if I can just give it a quick once over, and I don't see anything that stands out to me, it's usually a great job. If I have to sit here and really hunt to find any type of imperfections, then they're going to be really minimal, and it's generally going to be fine. It's not that you can't have somebody complain, but any imperfections that you have should be really difficult to find. But you can always find something in any tint job. The trick is to not point it out, because unfortunately once you see it, you don't unsee it. So that makes it a little tricky for me, because I don't want to point out something that's very minimal and then all of a sudden, like, you know, the client that watches this video then gets their car back and then they look right at that spot and then it starts bugging them and then they're like, I wish I didn't know that was there. Just pull the seats down for more space. Yeah, but then I don't have like head clearance. Oh my God, you guys, like I don't know that. The amount of people that are telling me to put the seats down. Just fold the seats down, then you get lots of space. I like seat space. Yeah, we need a bulldozer and this guy too. Oh yeah, and this. We're gonna go for all of them. See, there's two spaces. There's the space that I have to work with to get the film in here, and then there's like, so I can sit here at a comfortable position, or I can be crammed up here where my arms are all awkward and hard for me to get the film in, but I at least cleared out the headrest. I'm good like this. I've got space. I'm just saying it's not a lot of space. But you'll see. Every bottom loader is going to be, well, you could just take them out. Just take out the seats. Okay, so these Camry rear windows, they're a little curvy. So I'm actually doing it from the center out because it's got a lot more curve up in those top corners. So trying to go clear across with my squeegee blade is a little bit more annoying. I usually leave a lot of water there. But starting from the center out works pretty well. There's that. See, you guys ever watch Star Wars? When like the Millennium Falcon's trying to like coast through a really tight area? That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do with this film. This is the Millennium Falcon. And it's gonna fly and coast right through there. I would play the music, but I think my stream is gonna get obliterated if I do that. I could sing it. Da 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 da. Somebody want to make some chewy sounds? Okay, this is really bad. We're gonna shut up now. Okay, so you get here, and then you widen your arms out. You work it to the end of your fingers here, and the goal here is just to coast it over the headrest, not touch the headliner, and then sneak your arms back in to those little gaps in the headrest, and then you just start moving this forward. And then we haven't touched any headliner, any paneling. And then we're about halfway down on the window, and we just keep coasting it down. Put a little film up, coast it down. Put a little film up, coast it down. Until eventually it's all the way down. And once it's all the way down, you put the rest of the film up. Look at all your edges. And then you have successfully Millennium Falconed your tint. It pays to be a small guy. Hey man, I'm average height, okay? Yeah, if you're a real big guy, tinting back windows is gonna be a little bit harder for you. I mean, they don't give people a whole lot of space to work with, so you just gotta do the best you can. But yeah, I'll typically pull the headrests. If the headrests are sewn into the back seats, then this is enough space to work with. It's not ideal. They usually have a 60-40 split on the seats. You can do a couple things to give yourself a little bit more room. I don't mean it that way. Mm-hmm. And then we're gonna bulldoze the rest of this. Oh, hot tip with the bulldozer. There's some people that don't understand this tool. It catches the film. So when you push this down, like if you know, I've used this tool a lot, so I don't always have to do this. If you have a really tight bottom edge on your film, or like the deck lid presses really tight against this glass, you take a bulldozer, you swipe it down, let go of the handle, put it flat against the glass, and then pull it back, and then it's not going to catch the bottom. It's not going to hook. Always do that, because that'll happen. You get a tight deck lid. The bulldozer is kind of like a hook tool. Like the bottom lip curves up, so if you just do that and yank back, sometimes you even pull air back into your film. You don't want to do that. Let go. Oh God, that's more Star Wars. Let go. Use the force. Luke. Sponsored by Disney. Yeah. This was a good live stream for learning tricks on the back window. Well, thank you. Just the sheer amount of people that told me to put down the seat. I mean, it was probably like 3, but I feel like I heard it a bunch more. Put down the seat. If I was less comfortable with carrying my film in, then yeah, I would probably put the seats down or do something to try and free up a little bit more space. Because that, I'll be honest, it's not the easiest thing to do that. But you can see why I like doing things this way so much. You peel the film, you coast it in there, you squeegee it out, and then you move on to the next car. Like, that's how I had to tint. So to take some of those things and still do them this way, like it's a very quick, efficient, clean way to do it. You just got to be able to do it right. Yeah, if you put the seats down, you got no place to put yourself. That's how I've always felt. Frees up space, but then you're probably better off with like reverse rolling. So where you can take the film in, set yourself up, lean back, put your feet in the trunk, and then do things that way. Hello, Tint Studio, how can I help you? Yeah, sure. What kind of vehicle? Okay. Let me check the schedule here. Let's see, the earliest that I'm going to have available is probably going to be later this week. I think I have a couple openings. I could do Actually, that would work out great. Yeah, I could get you in Wednesday the 13th. Would you want to bring it in at 10 a.m.? Okay. Well, I'll make a note here for the Model Y. So the front doors would start at 150 on that. 150 for dyed, 200 for carbon, and 250 for ceramic. Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can definitely do that. That's cool. Thank you for bringing in another vehicle. The Model Y, it's relatively standard. It's just bigger glass. So the front doors, they just start at 150 for that one. Oh, you want the whole windshield? Oh, gotcha. So the front doors are already tinted then? You just need the windshield? Okay. Well, the windshield on that actually starts at the same price. So it'd be 150 in standard, 200 in carbon, and 250 in ceramic. Alrighty. Yeah, we still take deposits for everything. So I'll text you a link over to the booking page again. And then once I get that deposit for 10 a.m. on Wednesday, the 13th, you'll be all set. Yeah, no problem. I'll get that right over. Bye. Cool. Wow, I misunderstood that. He said front windows, and I assumed that was the front doors. Okay. Thanks for scheduling your Model Y for full windshield on Wednesday the 13th at 10 a.m. Deposit. Is that the one you just did? No, but I'm looking back through the message. Oh, I remember. No, this was back in December. GoPro. There we go. Yeah, this was actually all the way back in December. I remember the one. I remember having to fix one of the windows. He told me a really funny story. So that's cool. I wish I had a better way of knowing which one was calling ahead of time. Because sometimes, like, I'm already through doing I just assume nobody's gotten their car tinted here. So it's nice to know that a little earlier. I wish I had a way to, I should check or something, but, we're streaming. But yeah, that's cool. He's going to bring it in on Wednesday for the full windshield. He had the rest of it tinted. This is looking real clean. Ooh, I like this. Yeah, this turned out great. Heck yeah. That's what I like to see. Yeah, I'm not the best at sales pitches or anything. I'm really not. I often feel like I jumble up what I'm trying to say. But I don't know. I usually get enough in there. There's just sometimes that, with either other things going on or I'm assuming too much early on in the conversation or whatever. I already said the price. I wanted to mention that I have different films, and then I start talking about this and that and blah 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 blah, and then people are just first and foremost make, model, and what windows are you looking for, and then I try to make it a point to ask if they were looking for any particular films. But yeah, there's too many little things to say very quickly. That's where Tint Wiz proposals come in really, really handy. But that takes time. It's more efficient just to say over the phone. So when somebody inquires through my site, I shoot them back a proposal. When somebody calls on the phone, I just try and run through it as much as I can. Why did the customer cross the road? We got jokes today. I don't know why. All right, so we need, I feel like we have a Pro Nano 20 somewhere. Ooh, and it dinged. That means I gotta, okay, I gotta look at something really quick. Canon. To go get a cheaper, simple tint job. Wow. Oh, it worked. Okay, I can't show you guys everything, so I'll show you this part. Okay, so when somebody leaves a deposit, I get a notification on my phone. This is what's really handy about this system. So I get a notification on my phone, but they set it, they click on the date and the time. So we said Wednesday, 10 a.m. So they click on Wednesday, they click 10 a.m. Then they fill out a little info. So it's just like their contact details so I can get in touch with them. And we're also taking a payment. And then also I added in there what vehicle. So then he wrote in Tesla Model Y and then windows to be tinted, front windshield. So now when I click on this appointment, I know exactly what's getting done. Small change that I should have done so long ago. I thought about it, and then I'd get distracted. I finally did it, and now I'm just like, at the touch of my schedule, it's all ready to go. You see how simple that is, too? Like, I didn't have to write anything down. Can't really see it. Oh, that's fine. You guys get that it's there. Should I? God, I want to plotter cut these instead. I should plotter cut these. All right, I'll keep these as backup. I just want to plotter cut these. Why did the turtle cross the road? I don't know. Why is everybody crossing the road? I've been watching you for 10 minutes. Canon. Canon. Oh, did I not open that? I've been watching you for 10 minutes. What's up, man? How you doing? I gotta readjust this. God, wearing this long sometimes makes my head itch. Or my forehead. Everybody, just to get to the other side. Is a windshield ceramic tint 270? Yes. Ceramic for 250. Just go to the other side. It's lame joke. What is today? Lame joke Wednesday? Lame joke Tuesday. Oh, let's put this back on the right way now. I was actually a little disappointed with Pro Nano 50 in the sun. How noticeable is Apex in your opinion? That's sad to hear. I quite like Pro Nano. Apex is going to block out more heat, yeah. It's going to block out a little bit more heat. So with Pro Nano 50, you're blocking about 75 IR. Like, so there's a little bit of heat going through. With Apex, you're blocking out about 95. Okay, so let me see here. Pro Nano, Pro Classic. Oh, okay. So for the website thing, I'm just using. Oh, it's all the way down there. Why are you all the way there? Last box that I look at. Come on now. So with the website, I use Wix. And they have a little appointment booking scheduler, which at this point, there's probably a lot of options to do that. This was just, I did Wix for my website, and then that was just a part of what they had as more of an afterthought for me. So I just wasn't even sure if I wanted to do appointments, and it's been really, really helpful to do. So anybody that comes in now, that's what we end up doing. They leave a deposit on the site, and it just helps me streamline so much. So they Tint. All right, Tint. This is a 22 Toyota Camry. So there's always that time. I'm always looking for ways to make things run a little bit more efficient, even though I'm not, like, if I stayed a little cleaner here, I'd be more efficient anyways. But streamlining systems is way helpful. So something like that, when I'm streaming, I want to take phone calls, and then to take somebody's information, write it on a piece of paper, or put it in a scheduler or something, that all takes time. I figured out how to have, when they leave deposits, they can do all that for me. And I appreciate it. My customers are awesome. I pulled 2-year nano and ceramic from Flex Film, had stashed away new films. Do new films go bad just sitting? It's tough to say. 2 years, you should be totally fine. I think film just has like a really long shelf life. A couple years isn't bad. Cheaper than I thought. I wish it was more. I've slowly raised my prices. I don't know. Some people look at my prices and they're expensive. I've been here for a couple years, and this has been, like, last summer we were doing a lot of ceramic. This year we're doing even more. So as far as, like, the channel and stuff goes, you know, other tinters know me, but I have very much been behind the scenes for so long. Now, local people then start to pay attention, or, like, if they've seen the channel, now they kind of know where things are, where in the past, nobody's really known, like, hey, if I wanted him to tint my car, I don't even know where he lives, so... Customers cross the road a lot. Everything keeps just crossing the road. So on a Model Y, like, especially compared to the front doors, it's like a Model Y just a Tesla for being a Tesla can outright be more expensive. But a Model Y isn't any more difficult than a regular car. So I've been pretty content in being able to sell enough ceramic at this point. And I'm gradually, like, as my schedule books out, I'm gradually increasing prices too, so. I need a break from people crossing the road. All right, let's put some more of this on here. We got the quarter windows, and then we got to do strip. If one more thing crosses, I'm gonna run it over. Yep, I'm not gonna mention chat jokes anymore. I thought I was going somewhere good. It didn't. Water on the lens. My OCD is skyrocketed. How is that OCD? How is water on a camera lens OCD? It's just like something that happened. Hang on. Let me get this mostly tucked in. It's more experiential. You're now part of the action because there's water on the lens. So you feel like you're here. That's the point. I'm gonna have to like ban everybody in chat. Okay, how's this? Pretty good. I should have prepared more. I should have got my my easy reach here. Use that instead of a shank. So with these tighter gasket borders, a tri-edge is good, but it's a little hard to sneak in there. So I'm gonna use something that's a little bit thinner. But I only use it once in a while. Hopefully, I just had it the other day. I know I got the blue one sitting around here somewhere. That's not it. That's not it either. Maybe I lost it all. I tend to do that with unique tools. Oh, there's my other. Well, oh, there. Yep, there we go. Ha! Found one. Which shank do you use? I use my green ones. $360 live stream? No. Nobody watches 360 video. It would have been helpful to do an extra soapy bottle too. I have a similar squeegee I got from a Walmart Black Magic kit. I know what you're talking about. It was in my last video. The only similarities is really the color I guess the size is similar too. This is a much better material. This is Fusion's Turbo, much better. The pink ones, the green ones, and the black ones, those are all really, really good. The other colors are just kind of hard. There we go. Looks nice. Those cuts turned out real good. You have so many tools you have to dig. What are you looking for? I just don't keep things organized. I bought a whole variety of stuff to leave on the walls and fill a toolbox with because I wanted to show some differences between tools, and I figured some people would ask a little bit more. Nobody really seems to ask much about the differences between tools. Every once in a while, they're like, hey, have you ever used that? And then I can grab it off the shelf. But more people seem to ask about carpet shield and tape. So this is carpet shield. It's just a stickier plastic. It clings to most door panels. It's not perfect, but it's a good way to just cover a surface up very quickly without having to soak it down. Is my GeoShield supposed to be blue-purple color? Is it installed, or are you just looking under it like regular lighting? So if I pick up actually this goes for really any film, probably something that doesn't get talked about. Sounds like it's not even on the car yet. So this is Pro Classic. When you take film out of the box and you look at the tinted side of it and you get it to reflect, you start seeing these little, like, that rainbow there. It looks a little purpley green. When it's upright and you're looking straight through it, that completely disappears. That's going to be with like any film and lighting. So put it on the inside of the windows, take it outside. It's not going to look purpley green or anything like that. It's usually just like a rainbow effect from like oils and stuff. Well, I say oils and stuff, but you know, like, have you ever seen like an oil slick outside? Or like light reflecting off of it? Like it changes the lighting a little bit. Or like you see a rainbow in it. That's similar to what you see with film. Avoid light gaps on quarter. How to avoid. Can you join me someday when I stop at your shop? Dude, I would love it. Swing on in. Just let me know that you're coming. So something, and I'm not ashamed to admit this. I've been real terrible at trying to like shave off. What is this? Is this soapy water? Let me just flush this out. I'm gonna get a soapier bottle. I haven't been super great at learning how to shave off a window on the inside. I would love to do some sort of a little video of just guiding somebody through that whole process. Like I get it, but I'm still kind of terrible at it. There's sometimes I can do it, but definitely not wet. Oh, that's why this bottle is like this. I remember now. Okay, open. What is window shaving? So you can take your blade, you overlap the film against the top edge. You just leave it overlapped, and then you take your blade on the inside, and you can just go and get like a perfect edge that way. It's such like a to me, it's been a really frustrating thing to try and learn how to do. I've been successful some windows, and I've been really terrible with other windows, so I just don't have a lot of consistency with it. I would just love to know if I can get to that, like what I can do to improve it. It still doesn't quite seem practical for most people just to do, and it hasn't been, like when you can cut a really nice top edge and you can get it super close. So the difference for most people don't matter, but it's something that's out there, so I would love to be able to do that. Okay, so gapless quarter on something like this, it's tough. There we go. Okay, so on these ones, you have to figure out a little way to tuck them into these side seals a little bit. Most of this is going to come down to your cuts. There we go. I think that's pretty good. So this is overlapped here, and it's overlapped here.
Tint super chatted $4.99. I have found that using a file
Super
to shave
chat.
is far more consistent and easier for the people who actually want it.
Thank you. 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to squeegee out a lot of this quarter window, and if I can slide it into this gasket ahead of time, that's definitely preferred. But sometimes things just start to bind up a little bit, so I'll get it pretty close, and then I hope this is going to work out. So this is kind of rolled this way. Should make it pretty easy to then squeegee out. For this side, this part I'll squeegee down, and then I'm going to take an easy reach, and we're just going to go straight down. You dig this into the seal. That's what I like about an easy reach versus a tri-edge. This is blunt, and it's going to poke against the seal, and it's just harder to sneak it in the seal. So every once in a while, I'll grab an easy reach, and that'll go right into the seal, and then you can swipe down and just try and do it really, really straightforward and clean, and cross your fingers that you don't crease the film up here. And if everything goes right, which I said, if everything goes right, then you don't have any problems. And unfortunately, I put a it's so little. I'm gonna redo this. There's like a little crease up there. But that's what I mean. And then you can go around the rest of it. The top corners are always the hardest part. Okay, but thank you, Alligator, for the 5. I really appreciate that. I found filing. Let me cut out another one. I found filing. I have found that using a file to shave is far more consistent and easier for people who actually want it. Yeah, thank you for the 5. That's the impressions that I got too. The only issue for me is like it's got to be on frameless. You're really not doing that on a framed window, which bugs me. I wish, like, you see people doing it on with a blade on framed or frameless windows. So it would just be really nice to have something consistent. Okay, so we're going to do 2 of these because we can. Oh, let me lower this. There we go. Where can I buy the door panel film? See, it never stops. Carpet shield. What file do you recommend? Of course, it's for frameless. I know. I just like I want it to be for both, and that's what bums me out because I would totally do it on framed, and I would love to do it on framed. I just would like to have the same way to do it for both. All right, we're going round 2. This is why I really like plotters for quarters. Patterns are great. I just gotta be less shit at installing it. It's a snap-on file? Interesting. One on Amazon for $6. I went to Lowe's and I bought a file, and they didn't have much to pick from. And so when I tried it, it was like, yeah, it was kind of jagged. It wasn't great. But it was like supposed to be like a bastard cut file. So let me see if I have that. Yeah, this file. I ended up getting one of these guys. So you can see that they only go one way, and it was relatively fine. And I got like a smaller nail file. But I don't know. Where can I get the Lowe's tape? Home Depot, obviously. You know, I love Geo, I really do. But sometimes Geo does not love me. And this stuff can be total shit at trying to get tucked into a quarter window like this. Oh, it drives me crazy. Where like you put it on the glass and then it immediately just like freezes and you're like, what the hell happened? That's why I really hate quarter windows like this. If I had a very slidey film, it'd be much easier to do. It just sometimes, like, God, I can't even describe why. It just, I do a soapier bottle, I clean it, and then it's kind of like a guessing game if I'm actually gonna get it installed or not. I hate guessing on something that I feel like I should already have down. I may have got it though. What's your water to soap ratio? In a 3-gallon keg, I use fill it about 3/4 of the way full with water and do about 3.5 ounces worth of soap. Some Dawn, like an ounce of that is Dawn and the rest is baby shampoo. That's the real question. What's your Lowe's tape to carpet shield ratio? I like it. Ooh, hang on. I think we got it. It's the sticking. The sticking drives me crazy. Oh, that's spot on. I wouldn't exactly say that was smooth to get it in place, but that's spot on what it needs to look like. But I really try and tuck as much into here as I can. Pull back this gasket, slide it down a little bit, and then it'll lay flat against this edge, and then slide it back this way. That's generally how I'll approach those. Yeah, I do have a soapier bottle. It still didn't do much. Sometimes they just don't. I don't know. That was the whole problem with the soap in the beginning. Was like, no matter how much baby shampoo I put in, it didn't seem to help out a ton. But, you know, it did it enough. Please finish it quickly so I can go home. Man, you are free to go anytime you want. Would you, things don't move fast here. I still got a windshield strip to do, so. I don't keep anybody hostage here. And I generally take my sweet time with a lot of what I do now. Take gaskets on this one. On the quarter windows, the roll downs are easy. Everything else about this car is pretty straightforward. When it comes to Honda, Toyota, Subaru, they like doing their gaskets different on those quarter windows. It's what we hate the most about those cars. Like, we'll do the roll downs is like it's a breeze. They're awesome. They give you plenty of space to work with. The quarter windows can go die. Tint the whole windshield. All right, let's do it. As an example. And then we'll, yep, I don't get many windshield strips, but sometimes I do. Got that. Probably could have dried that a little better at the edge. I tighten this up. I still got to figure out why this headset keeps flopping over. Is this going to be 2 pieces? Yes, most likely. So typically, all the mirror stuff comes down a little farther than most people want their strips, or it lines up perfectly with the bottom, and sometimes we match them. He said do what I think is best, so that's what we're gonna do. Generally, it's gonna be in 2 pieces though, on something like this. Because if you're split here, yeah, going all the way down here on the inside, it's going to be pretty low. So we're going to do this a little up. And I'll just use a 24-inch roll, flip it around, and we'll call it a day. So on that one, Yeah, they slowly add more and more stuff. So they've got cameras and, like, you know, lane keep, stuff like that. Like, every car's a little different. But they add more and more things to make a windshield smart, which then makes it all more expensive. So cut that. Watched you do a truck on live stream a couple years ago. You did that one in 2 pieces. Yep, pretty standard. Because there's no point in doing this in 1 piece, because you're literally running right into the center and you got to cut around all that. So no matter what, it's going to be in 2 pieces. It just depends on if you want to throw a whole big piece across it and then cut it anyways. But going under the tab is pointless on this. Like, it's going to be too low. So we got to raise it up. Split it in half. And then we'll line up the center, and then we'll see where we want to set the sides. But it'll be nice. So we got an AS1 line here. Probably just below. Probably just below that AS1 line. It's probably pretty good, because I like them to be functional. So when you flip this down, it generally lines up like, you know, we're not all the way down, but a reasonable strip. It's extra nice when they put an AS1 line on both sides of the car. It makes lining the entire thing up way easier, because then I don't have to measure anything. They didn't. You suck. We either do that with a tape measure, which I often misplace, or we do that with a tool, because that's what we always have on hand. So from the inside, so we're 8 down, and on this side, we just need to go up a little bit more. And we're right at 8, just there we go. Make sure that center is gonna line up. Pop that down. Boom, right there. That's it. Oh, shiver. What percent? 5. Windshield strips don't matter in anything other than 5. But then I don't tint a windshield darker than 35. So very occasionally, like this was a long time ago, I would have a couple people, they would special request like a 20%. But that's only because like putting 5 on your windshield sounds dark. When you have a nice film, it's very easy to see through during the day, even though it's 5%. And for nighttime driving, as long as you're not going too far down, this type of stuff, this doesn't get in your way or anything, and you can still see what you need to see. But you need a windshield strip to work when the sun is really glaring at you. And the only way it's actually going to be effective is when that's 5%. Anything lighter is just not effective. Just doesn't block out enough. You're still squinting or reaching for your sun visor to put that in the way. Why no plotter cut those? I don't know. I didn't look. Most strips or windshields aren't much of a thing for plotters. Like, so you can have 50 different little changes on a windshield for the different model years, the different cutouts, slight variation changes from aftermarket to factory. Windshields vary a lot. So I haven't had much luck with cutting them out in plotters. But some people got them. On back windows, it's that usually doesn't change. Same thing for the doors. So across all the model years on any particular car, all the doors and the back windows, they're essentially going to be identical. It's just you can get a lot of variations. So you don't see that on windshields. There's not enough blade on there. Where's my other one? Whoa. We even have our tape measure in our tool belt right now. Do you still have Tint Whiz towels? Yes. So I feel really bad for this, but we use a lot of them for my son. They're like they're super soft. They're really nice. And I was using them for a while. They leave a lot of little bits behind. And they're really like plushy big. So using them on a windshield and stuff, it's not as good as this towel. So as much as I really like them, and like they're baby soft, I don't think they're the best tinter choice. But I would trust them on my son. We actually got some really cute pictures of him when he was like super little with those towels. I don't think anybody blames you. No, probably not. I'm sure, like, I gotta be an annoying person to send products to, I know that. But I like to use what just works. And if I already have something that works really well, or I come across something that works better, doesn't matter how much I like you, what works better is what works better. So I'm sure they understand that, though. Please use the optimum towel that can only be used by special people. Okay. I feel really bad about this one too. I really like that towel. I think it's a great towel. The sun distributing towel that they came out with, I just like it a little better. And I can explain why. I think it's a personal preference thing. So the optimum towel is very large, Covers a lot of surface area. I really like that. It's like being able to tuck it in tighter places is really, really good too. What I like about the sun distributing towel is that it's really dense. So they've managed to find a towel that I think absorbs more water. And still while keeping a really slim profile because of how dense it is. I was surprised. A lot of those towels, they tend to bunch up. That one likes to try and lay flat when you're tucking it in. So you can't sneak it quite into as tight of an area as your towel. But I prefer that one just a little bit better. Don't hate me. I still like the Korean tinter towel. I can't actually bring myself to use it. That to me is like I have it, and it's like a keepsake. But I did use the Optimum towel quite a bit. That was the best towel that I had until they threw this towel at me, and they're like, "Hey, try this one." Because they were looking for a good, they were looking for a consistent towel to sell. Because their source kept dropping the ball, unfortunately. But yeah, I think it honestly comes down to personal preference. I was using that all-in-one towel too. What the hell was that thing? The dash protector. I had high hopes for that one. That thing was pretty cool, but it fell apart. Now I see a bunch of people trying to shill it. I would use what works best, the right tool for the job. Yeah, there's just always that part that, like, you know, it's a pretty, like, it's a pretty tight knit industry. A lot of people know of a lot of other people, and so when it's just. When it comes to the actual work, though, you know, you want to do as much to support anybody else, but at the end of the day, I got to do what works good for what I do, so, or what I feel like I like to use. Hang on one sec. Where do you get your knife blades? These ones, honestly, Amazon. So the stainless steel ones, you can find them there too. I always recommend Tint tool distributors, but I don't think that they carry the thin blades yet. But I can ask them if they are going to carry the thin blades. Can I go home yet? Yes, you can go home. Sorry. I just noticed something on this one I have to slightly adjust. I think I'm a little bit up on one side versus the other, so I just wanted to make sure that it was perfect. I looked at it on the inside. I should have just double checked it on the outside. The edges were good though, just the inner ones. That little difference. Okay. So, no, I get that. I totally get all that. All I was trying to say was like, there's a great number of people I got a lot of respect for, and if they have something and I don't use it, it's definitely not personal. So I just hope nobody takes it that way. Delicate work. Ah, it's a strip, it's fine. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Okay, we knocked the can over again. So let's go ahead, we'll clean this guy up. Yeah, we should be pretty much done at this point. We got a strip here on the inside. That was a fast one. Was it? When things go well, this is how most things should go. I mean, it just seems like any number of small hiccups happen. Is there anything I can do to make my cuts more straight? For what? Like on the sides, on the top, doors, back window? Usually it's just slow down and practice. Windshields and back glass? Well, the nice thing is they don't matter. For those, just slow down. Extend your blade farther. So when you're making a cut, do I have enough blade on any of these? Okay, this one. So I always extend extra blade, keep a nice low angle, and then just go slower. When you take your time, you have room to make little adjustments. And then just keep going with it. But having extend your blade farther, that'll definitely help. And just take time. But everything's getting tucked. That's the nice thing about a back window. So like how straight your cuts are doesn't really matter. The main thing is just to get the film tucked beyond all the edges. And as long as it doesn't look like a, you know, you might have somebody that's like, or like, if you have it like this, if your edge looks like that, okay, I can see like we have a problem. I have 10 years of plotter experience, started hand cutting a couple weeks ago, that's why I'm asking. Gotcha, okay, you're fine. Yeah, just go slower. You'll get used to it, and compensating for little like hand twitches and stuff. So for me, the blade point, like that's what's touching the glass, that's what's against the window. My hand will still wiggle and stuff. I just try and do everything to try and compensate for the tip of that blade. Dang. What's a good DIY film? Later, Korean tinter. Tint Depot. Sun Distributing. They both have some good films that are pretty competitively priced. I gotta do a little bit more digging though. Wow, I let go of the wrong hand. I definitely did not mean to do that. I just it's glad it didn't hit the car, it just fell on the floor. Good Lord. Nice. Sweet. Little touch-ups. I don't know. What I was saying is I've got to find like a real budget film. Something under $100 that's perfect for practicing, that's easily available. I think that's the only real. But I don't know if there's any 2.5 mil or 1.5 mil films that ticks that box. Visor looks off. No, I'm just making sure this edge lays down flat. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta put some time into looking around for it. But I think most people look for value. So they want to find something that's good to practice with and then also start installing it on people's cars. They don't necessarily want to spend money on just film that they're going to throw away. Nice. Looks good. Thoughts on Vivid? I know them for vinyl. I don't know anything about them for film. Or I hear good things about their taillight film. It's more user-friendly. So there we go. 35 on the front, windshield strip. Sorry, windshield strip, 5. 35 on the front doors. 20 on the rear. Dang! Looks nice. Turned out really good. Cool. Have you ever scratched or broken a window? Sure. I've been... actually, no. Not always lucky. Canon. So when you're working... See, look at this battery. Look how it just, like, falls over. And the camera's just, like, turned sideways. It's been this way for, like, the past 20 minutes. I'm just over trying to adjust it. But it still looks straight, which is crazy. Like, look. Still looks... Sorry, just... It doesn't do this. It's funny. That helps out. Wow. My God. And that's what it does to my hair. Good stuff. Yeah, so when a lot of the shops that I've tinted for, like, so there was my dad's shop that I tinted for, and, there's my dad's shop that I tinted for, so some of those earlier mistakes, like, they just fix, and then they don't bill me for it. It's just kind of a cost of doing business. But when you're contracting for other companies, yeah, you're responsible for if you scratch or you break something. And that sucks because often what'll happen is the cost of fixing or replacing something, I mean, that'll take a good chunk right out of the job. It'll be half, if not more, with most things. So, especially windshields and back windows, they'll be typically more than your entire job. So, just do a couple things to keep them safe. You can tint every car. You can tint every car without actually running into any issues. You just got to be safe about it. But inevitably, there'll be a mistake or something happens, and it sucks when it does. But then you just got to be more careful next time. Will metallized film mess with my radio? So that's like an old problem. I haven't done any new testing, but it's not a popular thing anymore. Creating a metal cage around yourself, so like it's called the Faraday cage, will mess with signals and stuff like that, like even today. There are some companies that say that that's not really a problem anymore. I don't install anything that's metallized anyways because the real value now is carbon. Carbon replaced metallized films, but some people still install metallized films. It's a way to reflect a little bit of heat away from the glass while still keeping the cost down. So you can have a dyed film, a metallized film, a carbon film, and a ceramic film, but I don't see the value so much in metallized anymore. But yeah, I don't see the value much in metallized film anymore. Have you worked with 3M ceramic? So like the crystalline stuff, I've played around with it once. They had it at, wow, no kidding, on the dropping frames all of a sudden. That's super annoying. Here, let me drop it back down. Have you worked with 3M ceramic? So there's this one shop. I installed crystalline twice. I did it on somebody's sunroof, so there was hardly any shrinking, and then I did it on a total MKZ, and I completely ruined it. It just shrinks way differently, and they're just like, hey, this guy, he's a great customer of ours. We have the crystalline stuff. He wants that on his car. Can you install it? And I was like, I've never used it, but if that's what you want me to do, I mean, I can try and do it. I just can't I can't guarantee you that it's going to turn out great. And so Rick ended up going out and fixing it. But yeah, there's like a different shrinking process. Let's see. Desktop. So this whole video was me kind of learning how to do this. And you get some really good examples of what needs to happen. So basically, I've got literally, oh yeah. So this is the 3M rep. I took some video of him doing it. Oh, this was actually super cool. This is on this same model Camry here, by the way. So this was at one of the film conferences. So they were actually showing a demo of how to do it. So basically, it's set up with like a dryer sheet or dry shrink prep underneath. They tape it into sections, and then they reverse shrink it. They pocket shrink it or whatever. They heat the bottom, and then they work the heat up. So this is them doing it, and then you work it up. It's actually really quick and smooth. It's a really interesting way to shrink a window. So I try and basically do the same thing on here. So I fail, I think, a few times, and then I start to get the hang of it. Let me find a really good angle. God, this camera sucks at focusing sometimes. Like that, and then you can run that heat, and you can just keep it going and keep it going and keep it going. It's pretty crazy. So that's how you should shrink something like that. But when you have a really big curved window, hey, look, it's alligator. An obsessed garage, nice. It gets tricky. Like it's a little tricky to learn, but it's how you would shrink a film like that. It's just different. How much difference do you think there is between carbon and ceramic? Oh, there's a big difference. It's more heat. I can show the difference. Okay, so this video was a great demonstration of what I show customers. Unless they already come in knowing exactly what they want. So this is my heat box demo. I got this up front. Sorry, let me skip back. So no tint, dyed tint, carbon tint, and ceramic. Each one is tinted in 20%. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Hang on. I'm trying to show you guys and you can't even see it. So there's this box here. This is my heat box demo. No tint, 20% tint, carbon, and ceramic. There. Let me get out of the way. So this is a 250 watt IR bulb. So basically it's an IR bulb, puts out heat, and you can feel that heat coming through the glass. So the only difference from one slide to the next is the film type on that glass. And right here, I have what is called a BTU meter. So this measures heat output. So the closer you get it, the farther back you put it, this number is going to change. So I basically set it like a good comfortable distance, puts it about 300 with no tint and a glass slide there. It's kind of a good baseline too, because 300 is a nice number to wrap your head around. You turn the bulb on, and then you can put your hand in front of that space, and you can feel the heat coming through here. Now watch this little change here on the meter. Dyed tint, oh shit, hang on. So no tint, it's at 300. Dyed tint, it's still at 300. Then you go to carbon, that number gets cut in half. So now we're at 150. Then you go to ceramic, it gets cut down to 88, which is essentially half again, almost half again. And so you hear me say often, the dyed film doesn't really block any heat. The carbon blocks about 50% of the heat, and the ceramic blocks out about 75 to 80%. So you can see 300 down to 150, down to 80, like there's really clear incremental drops. So when you put your hand in front of there, you can still feel heat with the dyed film, you feel less heat with the carbon, and then you don't hardly feel any more heat with the ceramic. But then you can go a step more with the super ceramic and cut it down even farther. So this is honestly the best way that I have to show people the differences. And with this Walmart film, this was crazy. You can block a ton of heat with any cheap film, like with any cheap ceramic film. This dropped it way farther than I thought, down to 30. So this is blocking more heat than my Pro Nano film that I charge a lot more for. But the problem is then when you pull this outside, it's milky hazy. This is incredibly hazy. So watch when I show you the rear window here. So this is normal tint. This is ultra hazy. You can just see the contrast here. It's so bad. It's really bad to see through. So the more expensive ceramic that you got doesn't necessarily mean it will block out more heat. It means it'll block out a lot of heat while lasting a long time and also remaining clear. Because this is when you're going to need it to work the most. And if you're driving around with hazy windows, it's just going to drive you crazy. What a difference, though. Yeah, that was the Black Magic. That was the least expensive, well, not least expensive ceramic, but that was definitely a very asked about one. Can I block ads with tint? Sure, why not? Just get really dark, and put it over your monitor. Do you think the clear backing on the film adds blocking to some heat from being included? No, zero. I had a lot of comments that were saying, oh, it's the clear backing. Oh, it's the air gap that's there. No, I've played around with the heat box a lot. There is no significant change from leaving the clear backing, from having any type of an air gap. Like on house windows, there's an air gap in between the windows, but there's also like a gas. They'll use like argon gas or something in between there. That's what's blocking heat. That's what's giving you energy efficiency. And with automotive, everything's sandwiched together. So there is a ceramic layer in there. If you could get clear polyester to block out any significant amount of UV or IR, then it would be way easier to make ceramic film, and it'd be way cheaper. But it's that ceramic or that carbon layer in there, that's what blocks the heat. There's no special magic to it. Or else you could literally just buy a roll of film, hang it up in between. I mean, you could literally have a curtain of film, but you could do that with the liner too and have like added heat, just like slap it on. It's not going to do anything. So I think people also get confused with like energy in the wintertime. So when you have an air gap, because you can buy clear plastic, you can cover the frames of your windows, but what you're doing is you're creating an insulation air gap, and it's totally different from blocking sun. So like there's little tricks like that that you can do in the wintertime, but it's completely different when it comes to just sunlight passing through something. It's just those different things filter out, and the clear layer has nothing to do with it. What's the difference between Pro Nano ceramic and regular ceramic? Well, Pro Nano is the name. There really is no regular ceramic. Everything is ceramic or you know, they have different terms for it. So ceramic, nano ceramic. It's honestly just marketing. So the Pro Nano is their name. Nano refers to the nano-sized particles that they put in the film. So some people will just say, ours is a nano ceramic. And people that don't know anything about films, they feel like nano ceramic sounds fancier than just saying ceramic. So like, oh, is it a nano ceramic though? And it's it doesn't fucking matter. What does NRI mean in tint terms? I don't know. I'm gonna Google it. I don't think I've ever heard NRI. There's like VLT for shade. There's IR. What's NRI? I have no idea. Have you used chameleon film? Yeah, on this channel some. There isn't anything that I can really guarantee though. Like, I wish. It would be super fun. I'd love to do chameleon and crazy jobs all day long. Nothing lasts. So, desktop. Yeah, so like this was a video, a live stream that I did of actually doing it. Is it difficult? Well, some of them I've heard are a little sensitive to heat. So they do recommend shrinking some of them, very similar to what I showed with the 3M stuff. Or you just shrink it a little bit slower to avoid ghosting. That's it. I see NRI in the description of GeoShield. I have no idea what it means. I've honestly never heard it. So, yeah, I don't know. What film? I can maybe see context, but offhand, I have no idea. I know NR, like if you see NR charcoal, that stands for non-reflective. It's like one of the dumbest names for film. I hate it. I think it's so stupid. So Avery came in and killed Hanita's naming for their film. So they have, Hanita had Sigma Pro, Omega, and like some other ones. But I actually really liked Hanita Sigma Pro. I thought that was a pretty interesting name. It just sounded neat. And then Avery took that film, and now they just call it NR Pro. What does NR stand for? Non-reflective. And I'm like, that's boring. Everybody's got, like, NR is non-reflective, HP is high performance, but that usually refers to, like, metallized. It may have been NR. Oh, okay. Well, if it's NR, then it's non-reflective. That you're going to see with, like, Pro Classic or just most films anyways. I don't know. It's usually just non-reflective. But the context matters a little bit. NRICH40. That sounds like an architectural. That if I had to guess, it has to do something with architectural, because CH I don't recognize. Hang on, let me look here. Products. Or is it auto? Oh, I can't copy any of these. These are pictures. Super Ally. No, let's go to automotive. Apex. Where's the NRI? Can you give me a little bit more on this so I stumble across it? Yeah, I don't know. It's not in their spec stuff. Nope. Can't search it. I don't know. If you can give me some more context, I can try and find it, but I have no idea. If it was interior, like if it was architectural, the only thing I can think of is non-reflective interior. I don't know what CH4 or charcoal, yeah. NRICH40. Yep, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. Nothing that matters that I've seen. With framed windows, keep getting contaminants versus non-minimal with coupes. What could be the issue? Framed windows, keep getting contaminants versus... Oh. This one question from earlier. Framed windows keep getting contaminants versus coupes. Then it probably just has to do with the top edge of the window and fighting with the frames. I don't know. That's a bad answer. But make sure the top edges are wiped off, because when you're rolling those up and down, they're jamming into the top seals. But you also just have to have a little bit more cleaner way of installing. Just be a little bit more careful. Don't fight with the edges. That'll get dirt. All right. Let's see. Stream elements. There we go. Dashboard. All right, so we're going to shout out some supers. Big shout out to Alligator and Danny Reyna. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Have you ever used Solar Free? Yes. I don't know anything about them, though. I don't know who owns Solar Free. I mean, they have a clean looking site. They kind of strike me as a as like a Scorpion tier. You can buy film right off their site, I think. Yeah, I don't know. They're probably like they're gonna probably be like you just gotta look into them a little bit more. I don't know. They seem like Scorpion to me. I don't know anything about them though. Did you like the film? Oh, no, I haven't used them. I have no idea. I was just looking at their website. First impression. Kind of looks like Scorpion to me. Do you recommend people get into tint? Well, I teach it a lot, so yes. Depends on where you're coming from. It can be a really good fit. It's definitely not meant for everybody. It's a frustrating skill to learn, but it's a very well-paying skill once you know how to do it. So that fits the bill for a lot of people. People that want to start their own business, people that like working on cars, people that like to stay fairly clean when they work on cars, somebody that likes things that turn over a little faster, that there's still a high demand for with a lot of interesting prospects. Tinting's like this is a really, really interesting field, but it's really frustrating to learn. So, you know, it's not going to be for everybody. But if you're not sure on what to do and you like cars, tinting's kind of cool to play around with. I start practicing lots a day. Super stoked. Nice, very cool. That's exciting to hear. I want to at least do weekends, and maybe it'll be more. Who knows? That's a good way to just get your feet wet with it. That's what's nice about it too. is it's very flexible. All you need is somebody's car dropped off for a day, a couple days, and you can set aside weekends. You can set aside spare time to work on it. So it's nothing that needs to be immediate until you start, like, you know, you get your feet wet with it, you do it on the weekends, and then you start building up confidence, building up traction, and then you start allowing another day for it. So maybe you do Saturday, Sundays, then you start doing like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and before you know it, it might be your full-time thing and you really like it. But I didn't want to pay for them. I found Matt, and I've got a tinter tattoo. Yep, some people get into it super hard. One of my, one of the biggest shops in the state, they started from watching videos. They started tinting for friends, and now they have a super high-end business. They're doing really well. That's cool to hear. Any tips for starting up business side of tinting? Is there anything in particular? It's a little broad. Because, like, there's a lot to the whole business side of any business. So there's learning the skill, and then there's actually, like, turning that skill into your business. And you can do it very gradually. It's gaining customer base. Okay. The way that I started was literally figure out a name. So a good way to at least start attracting people is literally do, like, your city name or the nearest major city to you, and then window tint. So for me, I did Detroit Tint Studio. It's very searchable. The only little bit that I wanted that was really unique, I felt, was doing the studio instead of, like, Detroit window tint. So that way, when people are typing and looking for a tint place, you're going to be somebody that starts to pop up earlier. It's not quite doing the yellow pages, like you know, having a AAA name used to put you at the top, but having things that are very searchable to you, or like to your city and stuff, like that's what people are already looking for that don't have somewhere to go already. They're just searching like their city and then window tint and seeing what pops up. It's a good way to get found early on. It's a little harder to carry a brand with it, but there's no reason you can't do it. Oklahoma doesn't really ring like Detroit. Well, I'll tell you, Detroit is very iconic for cars, but people in Detroit, it's not the, you know, people hear Detroit and they're like, oh shit, am I gonna get shot? But, like, it's better than Sterling Heights, so. Especially with the channel, so I went with it. Dan's Tint Studio? Yeah, that's fine. The only difference, like, this is a little thing. People aren't searching Dan's Tint Studio, but they will search, like, the city and then Tint Studio, or no, and then window tint. Nobody's searching Tint Studio really either. Again, studio is a way to kind of, like, because it's very much like set up for video. That's one reason I put that in there. That was for me. But so your name only adds up to be a small amount. There's just little things that you can do earlier on to make it a little bit more searchable is all. From there, get yourself some type of website. Get yourself listed on Google Maps, Apple Maps. That way people can find a website, people can find a local listing when they're searching on maps, have a phone number, and then just you'll start getting general inquiries just off of that. You can do paid advertising through like Google or Facebook. I wasn't super happy about Facebook, but every demographic, every area is different. So it's worth trying for you. Is it hard to get listed on Google Maps? No, it's literally like you go on Google My Business and then you type in the address that you want to do, and then they'll mail a letter to that location, and then you type in the code and you're listed. It's real easy. Sometimes they don't even do that. Dan is a common name. It's a common name, but people aren't searching for Dan and window tint together. So those are things like, okay, when you're looking for a heating and cooling company, what are you searching? When you're looking for a food place, what are you searching? You got to think like you want to, like, what would you search if you were looking for a business that you were going to go to? Those are the things that you want to keep in mind when you're building your own tint company. And again, that adds up to a small percentage of like your overall. So early on, it can help give you a boost, but it's not going to make or break your business. It's just when somebody names themselves, you know, I hear this one a lot, Eclipse. Like, it's a cool sounding name, but nobody's searching for your cool sounding name because they don't know about your business. They're searching for what they're looking for. And that's window tint near me, window tint in my city in window tint. So those types of search terms are going to pull up stuff faster. And then if you really want to get caught and found, then you're going to do little things on your website, like you're going to add pages that help explain things like information about ceramic window tint, information about local tint laws, information about anything and everything about window tint that you can shove onto your site. So when somebody's looking for that stuff, they learn it from you and not me. That'll help you out. I'm going to call my shop window tint near me. Yeah, people already did that. And it's great. It's smart. Let's see. Actually, I don't know how smart it is because it was probably smart for a time. I'm looking at it right now. Hang on, let me show you guys. I searched it on maps, window tinting near me, but what happens then, I guess in this case, see, you get an ad for Tuxedo Tints, right? He put himself there. God, what am I trying to think? What happens is the search engines get smart and they adapt to what people are typing. So when somebody searches window tint near me, they know that the person would rather find businesses, not an actual company named window tint near me. So I don't know if it's as smart as what it used to be anymore, but it is a clever way of doing it. Like Discount Tire, right? They're a big company, but somebody that's looking for cheap tires might search Discount Tires. It's a way to get found. Or name it my town. Exactly. Name it your town, a local major city, just like somewhere near you. That's, you know, that just puts you on the map. It's a good way of getting found earlier on. Where do you buy window film? I buy it from Geo, so that's what I use. Tint Depot. Let me give you links. Tint stuff. Tint Depot. Sun Distributing. Did you get a phone dedicated to your business? Oh, yeah, of course. Yep, and that's really easy to do. They have VoIP services. So, like, you can search, like, Grasshopper. God, what was that other one? I keep forgetting what they're called. But there's a lot of, like, business phone services that just work over, over an app, essentially. So it can still ring your phone or on your computer, and you can take the calls that way without having to get, like, a dedicated phone line. But, you know, you want a little bit of control over that phone line So if you upgrade your systems or something later on, you just have more say over the phone line getting transferred. You don't have to start out with a new one. But then again, nowadays nobody memorizes a phone number really. But yeah, you want it to also be able to I text customers when the jobs are done, stuff like that. I can also send pictures of the cars. So little things like that, map directions or whatnot. If they have a question, it's really easy. Yep, handy. Google Voice, free. Yep. Yeah, there's a whole lot of things that help out with your business. The deposits are like the one thing that I'm super stoked I've been able to streamline because seriously, just to stop, find a pen and a paper or go into like Tint Whiz and then okay, I have to add the customer. What's your name? How do you spell it? Your email. Oh shoot, the phone was breaking up. Okay, can you say that again? Like little things like that, they take time. So for the deposits, I really like that they then go to the site and they fill out their information the way that it's supposed to be, and then they include what car and what type of work is getting done, and then it puts itself on my calendar. So easy. So much easier. And then all I have to do is take a phone call, and if they don't leave a deposit, then they don't have an appointment. If they do leave a deposit, then I've already got the info. Everything's all good to go. Super, super easy. Alrighty. But speaking of that, I'm going to jump off here. Just go around this car and make sure everything's good, and then I will let them know, or I will deliver this one. So Tint Whiz does that? No, I don't. I got to ask them when they're going to get deposits. But Wix does that. But I use Tint Whiz for all the proposals and stuff. I still use Tint Whiz for all my invoicing, all my proposals. I'm just waiting for them to get that deposit feature, because then they'll put them on my Tint Whiz calendar too. Golden. I want to take pics to make my website soon. Decided to just do it myself. That's good. There's not a lot that you need to throw a website together. When you hire a professional service to then do it, like there's a lot that they can add on the back end to help you be found and stuff. But like that's what I did in the very beginning. Just having something there is much better. You need something there in this day and age. If a dealership pays $3K weekly, is that worth it? Yeah, I'd say that's actually pretty good. That's surprising for a dealership. Just depends, I guess, on the hours and how many cars they expect you to tint a day, but $3K a week is pretty solid. I tinted doing mobile, and I'd clear anywhere from 2.5 to 3. I didn't always hit 3, so having like a consistent guarantee every week, that's a nice thing to have, especially when things slow down. Because what you'll notice is things will slow down in the wintertime, and then you get extra busy, and things kind of level out. But some people really need a consistent, like, I just got to guarantee that this money is coming in every week or every month. And yeah, 3K is great. That's what? It's $12 a month. That's 3 times. Yeah, that's you're clearing little under 150. Oops, I dropped my case of blades. That's no good. Yeah, that's clearing like under 100, little under 150 a year. Hell yeah, that's good. That's really solid. Alrighty, my dudes. Thanks. I'm always on the fence of doing on my own or staying put. Yeah, that's a tough price to, honestly, to go out on your own. Like 3K a week is solid. That's a respect. That's like very, I know a lot of shops that don't pay near that. So that is very, very respectable there, especially for a dealership to do. Do you have any discount codes for your websites? No, I handle discounts a little bit differently. So if you order more of something, generally you'll see a discount on it. So if you order like a 5-pack of Glass Aid versus 1 roll, you'll save a little money that way. But I don't have any discounts on film either. 0 discounts I've tried. There's just some bundles. There's some bundle discounts, not on everything though. Alrighty, I'm gonna take off here. Why won't it let me ship something to my house from Tint Depot? I don't know. They have a little chat window. I would ask them, though. I don't run Tint Depot, but they have good chat support. But it should. I have no idea. Alrighty, guys. I'll see you later.